Hi and welcome to this video where I'm going to show you how to fail your driving test. Yeah, that's right, how to fail your driving test. Now in the past I've done loads of videos about how to pass your driving test, including one called How to Pass Your Driving Test. I've driven quite a few test routes in Birmingham and I've given you loads of hints and tips. Now today's video is going to be a little bit different because what I'm going to focus on is exactly how people fail. I'm going to be showing you some of the most common mistakes people make and how you can avoid them when you do your driving test. All of the faults I'll show you in this video are things that I've seen learners actually do. Now I've been on about 350 driving tests roughly, sitting in the back of the car as they've taken place. So these are nearly all things that I've seen happening. I want to point out a few things before we begin, but we will get moving quite soon and there'll be lots of driving and lots of action in this video. First of all, I'm going to be making some deliberate mistakes in this video that I don't actually mention in the video itself. Because whenever I do a video like this, people often say to me, oh, you know, you're making all these mistakes and you're doing it all wrong. You're not a very good instructor. You don't get it, that's the point of the video. You're supposed to watch the video and let me know what mistakes I'm making. See if you can spot the faults as they're happening. I also want to point out that this is a real test area. This is a test centre just up the road behind me there. And yes, this is a real test route, but I have changed small parts of it so that people don't try and memorise the whole route. I've actually made it a little bit harder than it would normally be, but it's going to include a manoeuvre, independent driving, all the things that a normal driving test would. So yeah, let's get moving, and I'm going to drive the full route. It'll take about 30 to 40 minutes. Because I'm an experienced driver, I might be able to drive a little bit quicker than a learner driver would, but I'm hoping to get back here. It's currently 10 past 12, should be back here about 20 to 1, 10 to 1, something like that. Anyway, let's get going. So the first thing I'd like to mention before you even get started is many people mess up on a driving test because they haven't bothered to learn the show me tell me. Now although you don't necessarily fail for this to show me tell me, although you can, I've actually done a video before explaining how you can fail on the show me tell me, and at this point in this video, whenever I mention other videos I've done, there will be links appear on the top of the screen, on the cards on YouTube. There'll also be links in the description below, so anytime you see me mentioning a video, there will be links pop up on the screen or in the description below if you're watching on a mobile, because I know not all mobiles have access to some of the links in the video, but cards should work on all devices. Anyway, let's not get too sidetracked. What I was saying is, make sure you know the show me tell me. You won't fail if you get the question wrong, apart from the one I just mentioned. However, it does throw people off. Many times I've had pupils and the examiner gets in the car and the examiner asks a question such as, can you tell me how you know if there was a problem with the ABS, the anti-lock braking system? And a lot of people just freeze and I think, I can't remember. And although you're not going to fail on it, it throws people, it puts you off, and already you've got off to a bad start. Now don't worry, the examiners they don't get angry about it, but it doesn't look very good, does it, if you've turned up for a test and you haven't even really bothered learning the questions and answers. I know that's not always the case, you might just be nervous, but if you can, try and get the show me tell me questions correct. It's much better to say, I've forgotten, than I don't know. You know, I've heard people doing this when examiners are at the side of the road and say to the people, how do you check if you got enough oil? Dunno. I mean, what does that sound like? You could at least say, sorry, I've forgotten. Don't just say, oh, dunno. Anyway, let's get moving, let's get driving. So, I'm going to check my handbrake, check it's in neutral, which it is. The pedal camera should be running. Hopefully, pedal cam is working. It's a new one that I'm trying out, so if it isn't on the screen, sorry, that means it didn't work. Hopefully, they should be able to see my pedal camera there. Anyway, let's turn on. There's a learner just gone past. So, all of the cameras should be on the screen now. You can see the front camera, there's an interior camera and the pedal camera. I do also have a rear camera on the back windscreen, so I might be using that at times if anything's going on behind us, but I don't plan on using that all the time because otherwise there's too much video on the screen and it's hard to take it all in. I mean, one tip looking ahead now, you see there are two learner cars on the left there. It's quite hard at some test centres to actually park, this one included. It's really difficult to get a parking space. Obviously try and get yourself a good parking space to begin with. Where I am now is quite good, there's room behind, there's room ahead. Try not to park in too awkward a location. I actually had quite a strange thing happen the other week, I'll tell you, just before we go. I might as well get moving, then I'll tell you. So we'll check around. I will indicate for those learners, but I think they're going to be there doing the test and I'm going to be moving soon. I actually had an examiner say to me, can you get in the car and move the car back a bit so your people can get out more easily? And I thought that was really bizarre. Why did the examiner ask me to get in the car and make it easier for the people to move off? And even after the driving test, the people said to me that was a bit weird. She said, I could have quite easily done that myself. And I said to her, well yeah, you're the one being tested, not me. Shouldn't you have moved the car? Really strange that was. But anyway, that's what happens sometimes. So has anyone spotted a mistake I'm making already? It's quite hard if you're a learner to spot this. I don't mean to be disrespectful saying that, but if any instructors are watching, what is it I'm doing wrong at the moment? I've already done it a few times in the last minute or so. Anyway, so end of the road I'm going to go left. Now in a moment I will be going over the things that make you fail the driving test. But for now I'm just going to go into busy junction. That's one example there, that person in the car behind me just waved me out to go. Now you shouldn't always go when people wave you, but he was clearly letting me go. So if they are letting you go, make some progress. You would fail there if you just stopped, handbrake, and you sat there saying I'm not going to go, not going to go. That's one of the biggest things people ever fail on, next road on the right. One of the biggest things people fail on is simply they don't take enough chances. Like now I'm going to brake, come down to 1, and I'm going to go. If I stop and put my handbrake on there, I'm going to mess it all up, because I'll be slowing down traffic behind me. There's about 10 to 20 cars behind me there. I don't want to be doing that. So that's one way you can fail the test quite easily, is to be too slow. Now as I've said before, don't get me wrong, you don't want to go rushing around and racing around and be dangerous like here. This car's wanting to come in, so I'll go. But you mustn't be too slow. If you drive slowly, you will fail the driving test. And I think many pupils are shocked by that. They always think, oh, I've got to drive really slow, both hands on the wheel, be careful, checking the mirrors. You've got to drive properly, but don't ham it up, because examiners and instructors can easily tell if you're trying to, kind of make a play of it, if you're trying to sort of over-exaggerate everything and crawl down the road and go really slow. You've got to drive at a speed which is appropriate to the conditions, and we'll come back to that point in a moment. So I'm going to go down the road now, and I'm just going to be following the road ahead for quite some way. Now, the examiner would not normally be saying much at this point, but I'm going to keep talking as much as I can, otherwise it's quite boring to watch a video where no one's just talking or no one's saying anything. What's that sign mean ahead? Yep, got to give way, so check my mirror, braking. You'll fail here if you don't make any effort to give way. It doesn't matter if no one's coming the other way. You can't just say no one was there so I went. Many people miss that sign altogether, and if you don't, even like now with the parked cars on the left, checking my mirrors, not much going on behind. I know I can brake hard if I had to, I don't want to, but I could. I could come down to second if you're struggling a little bit, but if I don't come down to second, I could fail for that. Let's go back to third and make the car struggle. So it's struggling. What do you think the examiner is thinking now? You got your foot down to the floor on the gas, nothing's happening. The examiner's thinking you don't know what you're doing because you haven't come down the gear. These are all fairly basic things that you should have. You should have mastered all this kind of thing well before you come on a test. Now yes, you can suffer from driving test nerves, and I will be doing a special video all about that in the future. I'm going to do a video about how to deal and how to beat driving test nerves. So I'm going to go ahead now. There are so many things, by the way, I need to say in this video. I probably won't get them all said, so I'll probably do a sequel to this video sometime. But I'm trying to highlight the most common things people fail on. So not paying attention, not driving at an appropriate speed is the first one. That sign ahead, what does that mean? It means I've got right of way. So I'll check my mirrors. What the examiners don't want to see is this braking, brake. What are you braking for? There's no one around. Just go. It's your right of way. You've got right of way. Take the right of way. I'm going to pull up on the left. So I'm just going to pull up on the left in a moment, just after this black car. So yeah, that's the first tip I wanted to give you, is don't be fast, don't be slow. Drive at an appropriate speed for the conditions around you. So I'm going to pull up here, and the examiner would have asked me to pull over there, and he'll say thanks. So we're now going to do independent driving, which is a section of the driving test where they give you some directions to follow, and you've just got to follow them without any extra help. What people get wrong on this is that they often don't realise you can ask for help if it's really needed. So say for example if you get to a roundabout and you forgot which way they said to go, or you misheard the direction, you thought they said head towards Solihull, and you can't see a place called Solihull but something looks similar, like the spelling of the name of the place looks similar, don't be afraid to ask them. they won't answer you if you ask them too late. So if you get to a roundabout with 3 lanes and you're in the left lane signalling left, and then you ask, are we going right? They can't answer because it's too late. So you've got to ask them in plenty of time, but don't be afraid to ask. So I'm going to go over the independent driving now. This is going to be quite a high speed part of the driving, and I will be trying to make it so you can hear what I'm saying, but it's very loud on this road. So I'm sorry if you can't hear the sound that well for the next couple of minutes. But it's quite a busy, fast road. It's very bumpy. It's in serious need of repair, but it hasn't been done since it was first built about 25 years ago. Anyway, so the examiner would now be saying, at the roundabout, turn left, and then follow signs for Evesham. Now you must keep following the signs for Evesham until they say otherwise. You don't just follow one sign and think that was it. Keep following the signs for Evesham until they say otherwise. They might only want you to follow one sign, but if that's the case, they'll tell you. If they just say continue following signs for Evesham, do exactly what they say. Continue following the signs for Evesham. Now later in this video I will be doing more funny stuff about how people fail the test. I will be showing you some of that. But for the moment, I just want to get going and get this fast road done. And again, I will be doing videos in the future about fast roads, high speed driving, that kind of thing. And have you spotted what I'm still doing wrong? There's one thing I keep doing wrong from the beginning, and I'm deliberately doing it wrong. Have you noticed what it is yet? Right, so I'm going to balance my car here. I can't go, so I'm going to brake, handbrake, and I might be able to go now. Yep, so I'll shut the seat. I'm going. So 20 zone ahead. If you don't know, Birmingham is now littered with 20 zones, and as I've mentioned in other videos, hardly anybody bothers doing it, but you are supposed to. Today there's a learner at the front, so everyone is thankfully doing the speed limit. You must stick to the speed limits. They are 20, and I have had pupils tell me, now whether this is true or not I can't say, pupils have told me that examiners have told them to ignore the 20 and do 30. Now I don't think that's correct on this road. I think what they mean is when they get advisory speed signs. Now the route I'm going on today, it does have an advisory sign, but I won't quite get that far down, you won't quite see it. If you don't know what advisory limits are, quite simply they're limits that are not compulsory. Compulsory speed limits are in red circles. And have you noticed what I'm still doing wrong, by the way? I think I'm doing really wrong the whole drive so far. Compulsory speed limits are in circles like the one on the floor. If it isn't in a circle, it's not compulsory, it's optional, and it's advice. Now I'll go over that more in future videos, but you don't always have to stick to what the speed limit says, but you must if it's in a red circle, like the one coming up that says 30. So red circles prohibit things, you can't go over 30. So roundabout, did you spot which way it was? Nope, it's right, fourth exit. You notice how I kept talking to distract you deliberately, so you may not have seen the road sign. Examiners won't do that on purpose to fail you, but they certainly will talk to you at times. Sometimes you might get on really well with the examiner, and I've had times when it's got quite chatty, and the driving test has almost become like a secondary thing. They've become talking to people so much they've almost, made friends with them. But yeah, you must watch out for the road sign. So it's right, fourth exit towards Evesham. Okay, so we'll go around the roundabout. I'm still doing that thing wrong. Have you noticed what it is? Yeah, I'm still doing it wrong. Better check my mirrors. There's a car really close behind. It's gone the other way. Then off we go. Okay, so national speed. What would the national speed limit be on this road? Dual carriageway, 70, so put your foot down, go. I'm not going to do that thing wrong anymore, so if you haven't spotted it by now, it's too late for you to see. So it might be quite hard to hear now. I know I'm going to talk quite loudly, but I'm going to make some good progress. I'm going to hold about 60 just because if I go too fast, you won't hear a thing. But normally, you must get the speed right up to 70. Don't delay, don't hold back. If you're holding back for no reason, then you get marked down heavily or fail for that because there's no reason. You must be making progress as much as you can. And I'm sorry if you can't hear much, but this road is really loud. I can't even hear what I'm saying in the car, it's terrible. Anyway, sorry, so roundabout, still follow the signs for Evesham. I won't say which way it is, I'm going to keep quiet now so I don't have to shout too much, but I'm keeping the progress up. Have a look and let me know which way Evesham's going to be on the sign, and it'll come up in about 30 seconds roughly. Now there are are some cars ahead, so I'm considering overtaking. So I'm checking my mirrors. You don't have to overtake if you don't have to. There's no always a need to overtake. This road is fairly short, so I probably won't overtake, but it depends on how fast that black car goes. It's more the one in front of them that's slowing down. They're going quite slow, the blue one. So checking my mirrors. If you're not checking your mirrors now, not good, because you need to be aware if you can move over. It's no good waiting for the black car to brake hard, then you check the mirrors. Too late, you've already hit them before you've had the chance to look in the mirrors. If that lorry pulls out on the left, I know I can move over without even indicating maybe, because I know there's no one behind me. So you must be aware of your surroundings at all time. There's a good tip for life. Always be aware of your surroundings. So looking at the sign, it says reduce speed, so I'll start slowing down a bit. Not much going on behind me. Which way is Evesham? Now on the new cameras you should be able to see Evesham A435 is ahead, third exit. The examiner now wants to see that you're using a logical thought process, which you should have been taught on your driving lessons. If it's ahead third exit, it's unlikely to be the left-hand lane, because the left lane doesn't often go ahead third exit, round here at least. So I'm braking down second. Now I'm going to choose one because I can't go. I'm looking to the right, I can go. Is the learner next to me going to go? No, so that was a bit too hesitant on their part. So middle to middle, checking my mirrors, getting up to third, aiming for the second, but coming off on the third, and off we go. And yeah, that's how you do that roundabout. That might not make much sense because you might look at it and think, well, that looked a bit weird. That's how you do it, I promise you. I will be doing a video about that roundabout in particular. So this car behind me, very fast car. BMW, very, very fast car that. Look at the van on the right, it's pulled out into the right lane. I don't think that van's going to go as fast as the BMW, do you? So he's got out of the way now. So I'm not going to overtake because there's quite a few people behind coming fast. I didn't want to get in the way of the BMW, and I can't move out now, otherwise I'll be in the way of these people. I also know that I'm going to be turning off quite soon. I couldn't move if that van slows me down, but it didn't. So that's a good example. You can't always overtake. Sometimes you do get stuck in the left lane through no fault of your own. It just happens that someone comes around in a really fast car. They're not driving badly, they're just going faster and I can't get out in front of them. So I'm going to go towards Weather Oak now. The examiner would have said, can you follow Weather Oak? Sorry, I've got so much to say, I have to keep talking really quick and I don't get time to say everything. So I'll do my mirrors and I'll signal. If I don't indicate, it could be a bad thing to do on a test or in real life because no one would know where you're going. So I want to take following road towards Weather Oak. I almost go over the way then, you know, because I know which way it is. You can see now the sign on the right, Weather Oak. So mirror signal, braking. Now there are two lines here and one line on the other side of the road. So that means there's an exit and an entrance. So I'll turn in, not cutting the corner, otherwise that'll be a bad foul on the test because you could have gone head on into that blue car. There's only one line on this road, so what does that mean? Yep, one way. So I'll turn in, I can cut the corner slightly because I can see into the road. Now I'm going to build speed, and I'll come back to that road in a moment, I want to talk about that. I'm going to just build speed. You must get on with it, go. If you do this, you are failing your test doing this. Look, I'm slowing down. Why am I slowing down? I need to build to match the speed that those cars are doing. I've got to build, push, forth, mirrors, signal, give people a warning that I want to join the road. Now it's good that I'm going fast because there are lots of cars behind me. If I hadn't have gone fast, I wouldn't have got out, jammed up the road, failed my test for that. Next road on the left, next exit on the left as well. So mirror signal, get off the road, then brake. Don't brake on the main road and slow everyone down behind you. Leave the signal on to make it obvious you're not going to change your mind. Choose the appropriate gear, lift the pedals, round the corner you go. Yeah, that's fine. So that's the last fast road. Sorry if that was a little bit loud there, but yeah, I know the sound might not have been great. I hope it was, but it might not have been great. The examiner now asks, please can you pull up on the left in a safe place? Yes, this is a national speed road, but it's quite safe to pull over. It's a very quiet road, as you can see. So I'm going to pull over here just for a moment. So those slip roads back there, you do have to be careful with that because there was a time once when I came around the corner and there was an old woman on a Zimmer frame walking the wrong way up a slip road, 70 mile an hour dual carriageway on a Zimmer frame, as you'll be seeing in the video now. And there was another time when I turned the corner and there was actually a horse walking down the road the wrong way, down a national speed dual carriageway, as you'll be seeing on the video now. So there you go, things like that can happen. What I was saying about there, just in case you couldn't hear with all the volume and everything that was going on, there were 2 lines on the floor, which means that's where you come out. On the first corner that was. If you look at the video back, there were 2 lines to give way, then 1 line, which is the entrance. On the second road I turned into, there was only 1 line on the floor, which doesn't always work like this, but it meant 1 line, 1 way. So you don't have to go past the road, stop, 1, turn in as you normally would, because it's a one-way road. Yes, there may be things walking down the wrong way, as you saw in those sample video clips, but in that instance there wasn't. So if you can cut a corner, like on a one-way road, you are expected to do that. If you drive past it then turn in, that's not good at all. It's quite hard to explain this while I'm sitting still. I'd like to try and show that again in a moment. In fact, I will on this road. If I go down the road now, I'm going to move off. I'll signal for that van because someone's in that van who might want to move. If you look at the road on the right, there are 2 lines on the floor, followed by 1 line on the floor. So that means the 2 is where you come out, the 1 is where you go in. So I indicate that was just 1 line, could potentially cut the corner. Because there are 2 lines, I don't cut the corner, I go over the single line and in I go. Now all these things you should have been taught on your driving lessons. This isn't really a driving lesson video, and this is a driving test video, so I'm trying to keep you focused on the test. What would I be doing wrong now if I'm on a test? What's wrong about this? Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. I had a slight technical fault with the camera. I had to pull over and reset it. But yeah, the problem out there is I was going too slow before the 30 sign. The speed limit on that road before the 30 sign was national, so you don't have to get to the speed limit, but whenever you should, you can. So I'm doing 30 now, which is the limit, but back there I could have quite easily gone faster before that 30 sign. Like now it goes up to 40. Not a good time to speed up to 40 just yet, especially now that there are gypsies around here at the moment and the horses are walking all over the road up there. You won't see it on the video, but you might just see it on the interior camera. But there are lots of horses up there walking around. So you don't have to always do the speed limit, but when there's not a good reason not to, you should. For example, now it's 40, I can do 40, so let's get to 40. You will fail your test, as I mentioned before, if you don't get up to the limit when it's safe to do so. Roundabout right, 3rd exit. Now, the reason I'm going this way is I want to show you what I was saying just about driving at appropriate speeds. If you come around this roundabout too fast, I'm going to be failing now, because what I've failed to notice is that this road's really narrow. So I'm going too fast, brake, failed. The examiner will be braking saying slow down. You can't enter this road that quickly. So it's got a limit of 30, you'll never get to 30 on this part. The road's so narrow, you can only get 1 car at a time down each way. Not long ago this actually had a speed limit of national, so it was 60 miles an hour down here for a car, but that was obviously way too fast, so it slowed down a bit. Okay, so far it's mainly been about speed. I'm going to talk more now about other things that people do wrong. Hi, sorry I had a slight technical fault again there, so I've got the cameras working again, and I'm going to go back to driving. So yeah, hope you got that point, hope that be recorded. So these cameras, I'm quite new to them, and I'm not used to the way that they work. But yeah, so the point is, if the examiner asks you to pull over somewhere safe, just pull over somewhere safe. If they give you a specific place, pull over in that specific place. People often seem to almost ignore them. Now they'll say here, pull up on the left, just opposite the 30 sign by the give way sign. So you do mirrors, signal, and you pull up where they've asked you to by the give way sign. So many people just don't do that, and they just seem to completely ignore the examiner and just pull up anywhere they feel like it. So I'm going to move off again now. I'll signal for these cars, and at the end of the road we're going to follow the road opposite. Now the examiners won't always say this, because I have said at the beginning of the test, or they should have said, continue to follow the road ahead unless they say otherwise. So when you get to this part, people often say, where do I go? And the examiner says, follow the road. Where do I go? Follow the road that way. Where do I go? That way. Follow the road. I mean, look, just follow the road. The road goes ahead, so we go ahead. So many people panic here and start signaling one way or the other and trying to turn and swerve. There's no need for it. Now looking left, there are some lights that are going to change to red. There's quite a few cars coming from my right, but those lights should help out if they change. Let's see if they do. They're still on green now. This one's going to help. Nope, lights are still on green. So it's quite a busy junction, so I've stopped to put the handbrake on. Okay, no rush. You don't have to rush it. You must make progress and you must get to where you're going, but you don't have to rush it. It's come out for this red car who stopped at the lights, and off I go. So yeah, don't panic, that's another big tip. You will fail for panicking because it causes other problems to come in. Like, I've had times here where again the examiner say, can you pull up on the left after the road, and the people signalling and panicking and braking. Now, just listen to what they say and follow what they say. There's no need to panic and rush it, and you should feel quite relaxed and calm. And I often say that when you're driving, it's one of the most relaxing things you can ever do, apart from when you've got cameras that keep turning off though. But yeah, so yeah, I'm going to go down the road and I'm going to take the second road on the left. It's just past that big house on the corner. So I'll do my mirrors again. What would I do wrong now? If I do something wrong, what am I doing wrong now that I'm going to fail the test for potentially? What went wrong there? But see how signals so late that learner didn't have a chance of seeing him. So late signals are another common reason people fail. Also early signals, like yet again the example with the examiner asking you to pull over. They say, can you pull over somewhere safe down this road? And people do this. What's wrong? What's really dangerous here? Why am I being so careful? It's that side road. Anyone could have pulled out there thinking I was turning down. That's a major problem on a driving test. This is the kind of thing that pupils are surprised by. They say, well, there wasn't much wrong with that. Go back and watch that again. I might even replay that video. I was being really careful there not to crash, because that's that car behind me now. I was signalling. If that car had been there then, they would have seen my signal, pulled out, smash, and that would have been my fault because I was signalling too early. You must be careful with when you indicate. The examiners are not trying to trick you, but they will ask you to pull over when there are vehicles in front of you. They'll ask you to pull over after them to see whether or not you're going to have the sense to go around the vehicles, pass the side road, and then indicate. So be careful of when you indicate. It's a big reason people fail. And you might be surprised by that, you might not, but that there would be a serious fault. You could argue that could even be a dangerous fault there, because there are serious and dangerous faults. Anyway, let's get moving again. No one around apart from that woman walking the dog, so she's not going to care I went soon enough for them. Because they're next to me, they're not going to care if I'm moving off. Another common fault here that people do wrong. Let's see if I can show you this. It depends on what's happening on the road. Yeah, now this might sound really weird, but I've seen this happen so many times. And see if you can see what's going wrong. I mean, you can't really miss this. The examiner says, can you pull up somewhere safe on the left? Okay, so I'll pull up somewhere safe. Okay, and then they say, can you now turn the car around to face the opposite way? Move off. Bang, that car was perfectly timed then. So many people rush the manoeuvres, and as soon as they've been asked to do it, they go straight into it without even thinking about what they're doing. You don't need to rush them. Just take a moment to think about which manoeuvre the examiner has actually asked you to do. Many times on this particular road, I've been on tests with people, and the examiner has pulled them over here and asked them to do a turn in the road, a 3-point turn. So they've said to the people now, can you do a 3-point turn? Can you turn the car around to face the opposite direction? And this is what the pupils do. They've completely forgot the manoeuvre. I know it sounds funny, but people do that. And the examiner's like, okay, well, can you pull up again, please? And they just forget that they've been asked to do a manoeuvre. This is another example now. The examiner says, can you pull over on the left? So I'll pull over on the left. This is even more common on this road than the last one I just showed you. And the examiner now says to the people, can you pull up just past that corner on the left and reverse around the corner, keeping reasonably close to the curb? And the pupil does this. Well, are you serious? Are you going to reverse all the way down the road there? Look how far behind me it is, it's way back. They asked you to pull up just after the corner and try and reverse around it. So listen to what they say. The examiners give you so many hints and tips that people just don't take any notice of. I know that you don't mean to ignore them, but if you listen to the words that examiners use, it's all very carefully scripted. It's all very laid out, very well planned ahead. So they are trying to help you. believe it or not, people don't want you to fail the driving test. Examiners don't want you to fail. They're not really that bothered if you pass or fail, but they don't want you to fail. So yeah, going down the road now, going to go into the road left. I can see from the time this video is going to be quite long, actually, longer than I thought. So, end of the road left. What does that mean? That sign, what's it say? Yep, another classic mistake people make here is this. See what I'm doing wrong? What did I do wrong there? Well, what did the sign say? Yep, give way. So why did I stop? There was no one around. That car was, I couldn't even see them when I got there. They were way down the road. I stopped unnecessarily, and I'm still doing that thing a bit wrong. The one I said I wasn't going to do wrong, I'm still doing a bit. So I forgot to stop doing that. So when I pull up on the left now, on this road, yeah, why did I stop on that road? The view was really good, and it's going back to what I said at the beginning. I did want to try and put more points into this video, but I haven't even covered half the ones I wanted to, so I will definitely be doing another one like this. But yeah, the point I made before, if I'm to you a good example now, if I signal and go, I'll get out of the way of the car behind. Did you notice then when I pulled over, that car behind me was stuck, actually going into his driveway. So I thought he was trying to go around me. That was unlucky that he appeared there just that time. That's why you pull up on roads like that. So I have to keep talking really quick and trying to explain things on the move. It's not easy to do this kind of video. When you pull up there, they want to see that you've got the sense to notice, look, I'm blocking the road, I'm going to move off. Now that was quite a freak incident there. I didn't know that car lived in that house. Well, the person lives in the house, not the car. And that was weird, how I thought he was waiting for me to go, so I pulled off when he was actually going into his house. But that's a good example of how easily you can get things wrong. If I'd stopped dead there and just sat there, gonna go next road on the left, and I'm blocking the road, and they'll say to you at the end, quite rightly, why didn't you just go? Why did you just sit there blocking the road when there was a car behind you and you said, well, I was waiting for the car to go? But why didn't you just move? Why didn't you get out of the way for the car? Same as I was saying about the give way sign. You don't have to stop on the give way, and I've said this many times before. There are videos I've done such as common driving test mistakes, and especially common driving test mistakes 2, the sequel, where yeah, people often do that wrong. They just stop for no reason. If I show you another one now, I'm going to go down this road, and I'm going to go into the road right. Now on this one you can tell that the view is quite bad, so I don't want to just come out and go. I don't want to fly out the junction and go straight away, but certainly don't stop for any length of time. What I do now would be enough to fail the driving test on, and I'm going to look pretty stupid doing this, but I'm going to do it for your benefit. So if I do this, sit here, just have a picnic, make a cup of tea, one. This is far too slow, and if you're being taught to drive like that, that's bad. You're not going to be aggressive. You don't want to be aggressive, but you've got to be positive. You must take action. You must do something. Don't sit there when there's a car behind you trying to get around you, and you can easily go. You're not going. You must be positive. Positive driving is good driving. That's what we always say. So it's going to go around the corner. We're not too far from the end now. It's only about 5 to 10 minutes till we get back to the test centre. And I would have already failed this test spectacularly quite a few times. Have you spotted the reasons why? Some of them I've been over, some of them I haven't. So I'm going to follow the road now. This is a classic mistake people make. Just watch this, see if you can believe it. Is he going? Come on, what's he doing? Is he going to move? There's no one in the car, it's parked. How many times have I had people do that? And the examiner has to say, there's no one in that vehicle, you need to go around it. Oh, and people think it was, I know it sounds stupid, I know, but I bet there are people watching this who have done that. They think those cars are driving, and I've had people sit there for over a minute, and the examiner says, is there a reason why we're not moving? I'm waiting for this car to move. Well, you're going to have a long wait because there's no one in it. I know it sounds bad, I don't want to make fun of learners because I know you're learning and I know that's my job to teach people, but it's so funny and most people laugh when they realise what they're doing wrong. I can't believe I was so stupid. I pulled up and I was waiting for him, and there's no one even in the car. Well, you can tell that by the position of the car. It was really close to the curb. And I know there'll be people saying, oh, that doesn't happen. It does. I promise you, I've had that happen many times, well, not many, but several times on tests in the last 2 or 3 years. There might be one people watching this particularly who, hopefully you're not watching, I don't want to offend you, sorry, but I remember you doing that when I went on your test with you. And yeah, they weren't laughing about it afterwards, they were quite angry about it. Understandably, you know, they messed up the test. But some people laugh about it. So yeah, going back to the test centre now, I haven't done a manoeuvre, because I was going to do that one when I did turning the road, and I was going to do the reverse around a corner, but I deliberately messed those up, you know, to show you what people do when they forget about the manoeuvre. So second road on the right, and then we're almost back to the centre. So yeah, that's what a driving test route is like. Now, I didn't include as many faults in this video as I wanted to. Like I said, I can't believe how fast the time's gone. I mean, I would have thought I'd been driving for 10 minutes and it's been about half an hour. I hope you appreciate it's not easy to make these videos. I don't script any of this, I don't plan it. I plan the route, but apart from that, I just make it up as I go. So I did call this video how to fail your driving test, and you've seen many examples of how you can fail it. It hasn't quite been the way I wanted, it hasn't quite been as kind of punchy as I wanted. I wanted to make it so you've seen fault after fault after fault. So yeah, maybe I'll do that again in another video, but I hope you appreciate now the help I'm trying to give you in this video. Looking ahead, what could happen now? Yeah, that van, I think it's a minibus that could pull up. And this is exactly what I was saying about just with people not realising it's that car in front, they've stopped and waved the green one out. Why were they doing that? That was dangerous. I'm really glad that happened, because that was a stupid thing to do. Don't ever stop and wave someone out like that. They were waving them into the death. They were waving them into the path of the cars coming the other way. You would fail big time if you did that on a driving test, I can promise you. The other fault I could have made there is I could have gone round the blue car. Like I just demonstrated, that worked out really well. I'm going to go left here. People say, oh, the blue car stopped, I'll go around them. And they haven't stopped, they're waiting for someone to come out. Notice how I turn left there. Yeah, you can't go to the roundabout, then turn left. This is where you turn left. If you go to the roundabout and turn left, you've just failed your driving test. That's what people get wrong on that particular roundabout quite often. And I know that when I'm saying this, you could say, well, hold on a minute. If all these people are doing all these things wrong, are you doing your job properly? Yeah, that's a good point, it's a valid point. You do have to be careful when you teach people to drive. There is so much to cover. I'm going to go next road on the right. It's hard to cover it all. And you know, I remember once many years ago, where this was back in 2004, I had a pupil go on a driving test, and he didn't fail the test, I did. I messed up because he did an emergency stop, and afterwards he didn't look all around. You're supposed to look all around everywhere. Now, I didn't even know you had to do that. No one ever taught me that when I became an instructor. And I remember him saying to me, I didn't even know you had to look around everywhere. And I said, sorry, that's my fault. I didn't know that. I didn't teach you that. So yeah, your instructor can fail the test for you. That might be worth doing a video on its own. So yeah, I'm not perfect. We all make mistakes. But the point is that when you're on a driving test, things do go wrong. What's happening in front of me now? Why do quite a few pupils on lessons get this wrong? What's happening? What am I doing wrong? What's really wrong? Yeah, that's the end of the road. Did you just see it? No, that's the end of the road. It's a bit awkward because there's black cars there, but that is the end of the road. Loads of pupils on driving tests miss that. That's why I take them around there. And this is what I mean about trying to teach people as much as I can. It's very hard to cover every single topic there could ever be. You know, like around here you don't get what you call level crossings. There's no level crossings in Birmingham, so I can't teach people that. But we do try and teach people as much as we can. So yeah, that's pretty much getting towards the end of the video now. As I said, it went quite well, I think. There's a few things I could have done better. I didn't really put as many faults in as I wanted, but that time went so fast, I can't believe I've been driving over half an hour. So yeah, I'm just going to pull up on the left and I'll finish the video off. I'll do it just before that bump by the telegraph pole. Okay, just turn the engine off. Okay, so there you go. So I hope that's helped you somewhat. At least you've seen what a driving test route is like. As I said, I didn't include as many faults as I wanted to, But there's quite a few good things happened on that route, so it's well worth you watching that video, I think. The car behind me that was turning into the driveway, the blue car with that person waving the other one out, that's not good at all. So I hope I've given you some idea of what to expect on your driving test and just some of the things not to do. At the very least, at least you've maybe had a laugh at some of the daft things people do wrong, and you can appreciate how people panic on the driving test. So as always, if you've enjoyed the video, remember to like it, leave a comment, subscribe to my channel. There are already over 200 videos on my channel, so if this is the first one you've watched of mine, there are I think 224 at the time I record this one. Loads of hints and tips for learners and instructors too. So hope you've enjoyed that video, and keep watching soon for more videos.